first part of the Doctor Who magazine's contribution to the Time Lord Victorious storyline. The first one dealing with the Ninth Doctor, and the first one is technically part 2 of the Time Lord Victorious story. And what this issue is essentially just giving us a visual idea of what the Dark Times are, because we referencely heard about the Dark Times, like the Daleks said it in Defender of the Daleks, about, we are, I can't do a Dalek voice, but, about the how they were at the Dark Times and blah, 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 that type of thing. And this is just showing it. It's showing that, because what the story is about the Doctor and Rose entering the Dark Times. The Doctor feels a bit shaky about where are we, why the TARDIS put us here, that situation. It's like, oh, this is why, because no TARDIS should ever be here. No TARDIS should ever be here. And you find out why. There's a massive war, and it's like it's probably bigger than the Time War and that kind of thing. And you get introduced to certain of the main players. You get introduced to our villains, which are vampires. And oh my lord, the moment they spoke, like the first line these vampires spoke is, and it's with Rose is in the scene, and it's like, "Good evening, young lady." I'm paraphrasing, of course. And I'm like, how I'm that close? Because I read things out loud. Like, I'm like, I'm that close of like, adding like, "Good evening, I'm going to suck your blood." Like, I was that close. They're very you got this one character who's very villainously cartoony type of vampire, but what you have with it is a sense of a treatness, and you'll understand with these villains, these vampires, that you're like, okay, this is quite interesting. Let's see how we go here. There's references to Gallifrey and how it's Gallifrey before the Time Lords, and also Rose being the first human. As they mentioned in the marking, Rose Tyler, who was the last human, is now the first human. And how that contributes, and how the reaction is, and how dangerous that is, and what it feels like being the first of your species. And it's a basis of setting up the plan, and having this idea of like, okay, a taste of what the Dark Times are. It does play onto it. It does play onto this kind of thing. Now, the writing's not the best, I will say that, as I mock the vampire dialogue. It's not as quips or as actors get out of my head as, say, Defender of the Daleks was. But it's good. It's decent. And most of this issue is her asking questions. It, does 9 sound like Chris Ferguson? The dialogue doesn't matter on the page to the point of it sounds 100% how he would say it. Same with Rose, it doesn't sound 100% what Peter Piper would say, or a trait in that way. But you could still say set the visuals, of course, but you could tell, like, yep, that's 9, that's Rose, and in that certain way, it's not as, they spoiled us. They're like, oh my god, they got the voice right. It feels like I'm just reading dialogue and speaking how they will probably say it. I didn't expect that. And well, this is like, oh yeah, this is a decent, standard comic book dialogue. And they got 20 pages. It's interesting how much they're able to pack in 20 pages. But again, that's a standard comic book. That's a, most comic book, that's a standard comic book size, about 20 pages. 48, about 48 pages, that's dealing with like, DC's Black Label, or, how Titan Comics is handling their side of the Time Lord Victorious storyline. But yeah, at this point, it's good. It's good enough. Now, the next one on the list is a novel. I'm going to review a novel, and that is the Night, the Fool, and the Dead. That's if you've seen the covers, it's the one with the Ood, it's Brian the Ood, isn't it? Brian the Ood, 10 walking towards the cover, and the mysterious figure at the back. But so far, I'm I'm liking it. I'm actually, so far, I'm like, good. This is a good story. This is, at this point, this is a neat story with nine and woes, and that's, at this point, it feels like it.